Okay, and you're live in 3, 2, 1, live. Hang on, Panda, there's something not right here. What's going on with Alice?
Yeah, hey. Alice, you still with us? Haven't fallen asleep or anything?
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't have a plan for after I got up.
See, that implies we had a plan all together.
That's a fair
How's
point.
everyone? Yeah, so I'm Pandamonium.
Shocker. I am Alice Coatduck, and my mic is, or my camera is pointed way too low now. Hi, everybody.
So we kind of have a rough idea for this session. Basically, Alice was going to try to teach me how to CAD. Someone who has not touched CAD and is probably going to be rather difficult to teach. So let's see how we go.
Yeah, this is going to be fun.
So right now you should be able to see my screen, and we'll work off here, and yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. And I forgot to turn on the screen, or turn on the stream. Wow, I'm great at this. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, today, Chris, you wanted to make
like a battery box. So basically, this is a project I've had for a little while now, where I'm doing a bullpup chaos, I guess. One problem though is actually finding somewhere to put a battery, and so I figured I'd just sort of slap it right on here and have a battery box. Or something to that effect.
So, some sort of magnetic box. Now, something I definitely should have asked beforehand. Do you have magnets?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. That's good, because we're going to need to measure them.
Yes. Did I take them out? No, I did not.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, well, I mean...
Oh, and sorry. Yay, Jang's on!
Oh, hey, Jang.
Okay, anyway, sorry. So, fusion. We've got it right up here. Let's get to it.
Yes. So, do you know how big your battery's going to be?
Yes.
All right.
I've got a few different batteries, and I figured basically if I know the fundamentals of how to make stuff, even if what we make today is way too small or way too large, I can always resize it or make a new one.
All right. So if we have a rough dimension to work off of for whatever battery?
Why don't we go with, say, 10 by 5 by 3 centimeters?
10 by 5 by 3. Okay. So in that case, we're probably going to want 10 long and 5 tall. Right. Now, is that the inside or the outside, are you thinking?
Let's go for the outside.
Okay. So the first thing you're going to want to do is up in the top left corner, there is nope, just to the left of that one.
Oh, that
is the Create Sketch button. So you want to start with basically a two-dimensional drawing of the thing that you want to make with all of the details that you want in it.
Okay.
So yeah, I would select that plane. So you want it like sitting flat on your surface. Yeah. That's the YX plane.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm looking up or down?
Down on it at this point.
Looking down. Okay. looking down on my creation and weeping.
So we're just making a box here.
Yes.
So you'll want to go up in the, so you'll see that the toolbar along the top has changed. So now it has given you tools to create a drawing.
Okay.
So you could go up there and there's a rectangle. Excuse me. You could go up there. There's a rectangle. That would totally work. However, what I would recommend you do is under the create drop down there. If you go under rectangle, there is center rectangle. So that will help you keep it more centered on your origin, which can help when you're importing things and doing things like rotations. It gives you a solid point to build off of. So you want to start your model as close to the origin as possible. So that's 0, 0, the intersection of those crosshairs. So give it a click there, and that'll define the center point, or the sort of radius of the rectangle. And then once you've got that clicked, pull it out just a bit and up in the other direction. So now you have the option to input measurements. So you can actually just type in your keyboard. So what did we say? We said 5 centimeters. So you're going to want to do 50 millimeters because
not 5.
Currently working in. And then if you hit tab, it'll just take you straight to the.
And then we're going to go to 100 millimeters. I remember that part. Okay, so I've got a rectangle that is 50 by 100 millimeters.
Perfect. So now just hit your enter key, and that'll be a box.
Yay! I have a box. Well, I have a square.
There you go. So now, how tall did we want it again? I think you said
about, let's say, 3 centimeters.
Okay. We'll give that a shot. It might be a little thin, but I don't know what batteries you've got. So for now, you're done with that sketch. So up in the top right corner.
Finish sketch.
Yeah, you have finished sketch.
And we're back in 3D.
Perfect. So from there, you have a 2D image of the thing you want to project into 3 dimensions. So the most common way to project that into 3 dimensions, and what we want to use right here, is the extrude command. Currently, it's in your toolbar up on in the top left corner, just beside the create sketch area. The create sketch button.
Create.
You were just on it.
Modify?
Nope. Right beside the create sketch button. One over. Oh, you almost had it.
So create form or
no? That's a whole other ball game.
Okay.
So
see, remember the part where I was going to drive Alice crazy? This is it.
So okay, you see where the
so I've got my mouse over create. The drop down menu.
So go up. And then left 2 buttons. That
extrude.
one.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go. You can also use the shortcut E for that, but I figured we should, click the button the first time. So there you go, and you already had that face selected, so you can drag it up.
Okay, so I can just go 30, and then we have a box.
You have a rectangle. Now, in order to make that. Now, do we want to make it just a little bit nicer to handle first, or do we want to go back and do that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So under it's on the toolbar. There is a picture of a box with a hole through it. Shell.
Shell. Yep.
So you're going to want to click on that, and then click on the top face of your rectangle.
Yep.
Now that's going to allow you to define a wall thickness. So you're hollowing out the body using the faces you selected as your cutout.
Okay, so if I change the inside thickness to 3 millimeters,
Sure.
that'll give me a bit of a chunky box, but I have a bathtub.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. So then hit go, call it a day. There you go. You got a box.
Woo! Okay, well, that's about all we have time for today. Now, let's say I wanted to make a lid on this box, because it is going to be a battery box after all, and I'm going to maybe want to take the battery in and out without having to undo the whole blaster.
Yes. So now what you're going to want to do is, if you go along your left-hand side, you see, well, it's currently unsaved, and then document settings, named views, origin, body sketches.
Yep.
If you go into sketches, right?
Yep.
So if you open that, you'll see that your current sketch is invisible.
Right. Yep.
So once you do your first extrude from the sketch, it makes it invisible. That's a setting you can turn off. It's a setting I've turned off, but let's not worry about that right now. Right now, we just turn it back on. And then from here, we do the thing that gets lots of laughs on my stream, is you hide the bodies. So if you go up to the bodies tab.
Oh, yes. Bodies.
And then press that little eyeball, and that will toggle the visibility of the box.
So where it's the eyeball next to body one, or eyeball next to bodies?
Honestly,
body
you
one.
could do either.
Okay.
It's just controlling a folder as opposed to an individual item.
Oh,
so if you had more things in the folder, it would shut them all off.
Yeah. Okay. So I've hidden the body.
Hide the bodies.
Now I just have to get rid of all traces of blood.
There you go.
Oh, wait.
You're a doctor. It's fine. So from here, if you want to create the lid, I would use the base sketch to do that. So basically, you're going to want to do the same thing again, except a little more complicated this time. So if you select that rectangle, right?
Yes.
And then you can hit E for extrude. A little easier this time.
Yep.
So here's where we get into the fun part. So you can make that distance the thickness of the lid. So if you wanted to go with the rest of the wall thickness, that would be 3 millimeters.
Yep.
But we don't want to hit OK yet.
Yep.
We want to define the start position. So if you, the second one down, so that's,
so start. Yep.
Yes. So that is currently extruding directly off of that sketch.
Right.
What you want is for it to be up in the air. So what you're going to want to select is offset plane. Now it'll give you
the offset.
Yeah. So you made your box 30 millimeters tall. So you want to extrude off of the top of that 30 millimeters. So if you put 30 in there, there you go. That moves it up. And now that is in the location you want. And then you can hit OK. That's it. You've done it.
And then if I unhide the body, hey.
There you go. And then you can hide the lid off, and now you can see. Now, just to make things less confusing, I would recommend that you rename those two bodies, just so you remember which one's which.
Right. Oops. I'm guessing I need to click it. I probably shouldn't start typing random letters. Okay. So if do I right click to rename, or?
I think if you do a slow double click, like a click click, it'll maybe not. Try right clicking and see if that gives you a. Oh, you're currently in an offset menu, so you're going to want to hit cancel on that.
Right, that might be why. Hey, there we go.
There you go.
So if we call it container.
Perfect. And then you got your lid as body number 2.
It. Okay.
Perfect. So now we have technically a box. So let's make it a little nicer. So I assume the bottom surface of this box, you are going to want you're going to want it flat on the surface of the blaster. So what we can do now is if you want to turn off the lid for a second.
Right. Yep.
If you select the outside corners.
The outside corners here.
No, sorry. The edges, and the vertical edges. So if you go around and select
that one.
Yep, and then hold Shift, and then select the next one, and just go through and grab all of them. Actually, it doesn't really matter that much. Just the outside ones.
Okay. Yeah. So I think I've. Oh wait. I may have selected an inside one. Do I? If I shift and click again, does that unselect?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you just selected the vertex there, but that's okay. So if you hit, so up in your Modify tab, second from the left, there's the fillet option.
Hey, we like our fillets.
We do. They make things nice to hold. If you have a finished product that doesn't have fillets on where you're touching it, you can actually, if you've like got it in a bag or something, you can actually cut yourself, and I've done that a couple times. So always good to add fillets on, where it's needed. So if you select that, and you've already selected the edges you want to fillet, although it seems as though you've selected one of the top edges there, you might want to unselect that first. You can just hit Shift and then.
Okay.
Perfect. So now if we put that at like 2 millimeters or something.
2 millimeters. Hey, and that's nice and round.
So why don't we bump that up to say 5?
5.
So now we have a problem. I don't know how obvious it is, but if you hit OK, you can see that where you've created that fillet, it now gets really, really thin on the corners.
So we want to fillet the corner as well?
So we could do that. We could go into the inside and then fillet it. And then if you wanted to make that nice and round, what you would do is you would subtract the wall thickness from the radius. So here we have a 3 millimeter thick wall, and we did a 5 millimeter radius. So we would want a 2 millimeter radius on the inside. But there's a better way we can do this.
Okay.
So down in the bottom bar, you're going to notice that some icons have popped up. No, the very bottom bar.
Oh, yeah.
So right there, you're hovering over your fillet. Yep. We don't want that anymore. So if you select that fillet and then hit delete,
bye-bye.
That'll get rid of your fillet.
Okay.
So what we're going to do now is if you see that that little bar, that little indicator bar, select it and drag it just before you did the shell command. Oh, one more over.
Oh, and there.
So now you have traveled back in time to before you did the shell command.
Okay.
So now what you want to do is go around and select all of those edges again. And you can just hit F for a fillet. Press F to pay fillet, I guess.
And pay respects.
So you're going to want to rotate around your part and grab the one on the far side.
Oh, yes. Now, how do I rotate? I just...
Center, so your mouse wheel button.
Okay, that shifts it around.
Oh, okay. That's curious. It seems your settings are different than mine. That's peculiar. Okay, so if you go down into the bottom, there is along that bar, orbit. There you go. That's perfect.
Oh,
That should allow
okay.
you to rotate around it.
Okay, so
Unfortunately, it seems as though it's deselected the.
Oh,
I think you just click off to the side. And that should work. Yeah, just tap somewhere. I think it should fix it.
Okay. So we've got that. We got that. We got that, and then we orbit and. Nope. It's kind of getting annoying. Okay. And
I think you've also selected one of the bottom.
and I forgot to shifts. So.
Let me try and make things a bit easier for you. Oh my God, that's so obnoxious.
Okay. Thanks, Dr. Spencery. I can also click the up here as well. Okay, that makes it a little easier. Okay.
You know what? I've been using this program for 4 years and I've never done that.
Okay, well, we've got our outside corners clicked, and now we've got our fillet. Yep.
So, and then punch in your 5 there. You can just hit 5.
All
right.
I feel like I need to do that dramatic. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yep.
And then now what you're going to want to do is go back to your timeline down in the bottom row there, and move it all the way forward. So now you'll see that it has created the shell with those fillets in it. So Fusion is really ridiculously powerful because of this ability to time travel. I love it. That's why it's my software of choice.
So just don't squash the butterfly and you'll be right.
That's true. For any viewers of my stream, there have been multiple occasions where I have gone back and changed something that has cascade failed all the way through the model. And I then had to spend half an hour going through and fixing it. That is a pretty regular occurrence, but it's better than having to start your whole model over again because one thing went wrong. So now what I would recommend you do is pull up your lid again.
Yep.
Oh, thanks for stopping by, Aldos. I think I said that wrong. Aldos? Yeah. So I would throw a fillet on the corners of that box there. Sorry, the corners of the lid. Sure.
Wait, no. Wrong type of fillet. We can fix this. We can go back in time.
You might want to just delete that fillet. You might cause some problems. Now, thankfully, Fusion actually has something to prevent you from creating dependencies, which is, creating dependency loops, effectively, which in more accessible nerd terms is a time travel paradox. You can't move basically something that, like, you can't do two things that are related to each other and then switch them in direction. It just doesn't work, which is good. It prevents time travel paradoxes. You can't.
So you don't cross the streams.
There you go. Perfect. So you'll want that to be 5 millimeters in order to match the rest of the box. Perfect. And then if I was you, I would throw maybe a 2 millimeter fillet along the top. Now, the fun part here is because these are connected now, because they have a fillet, it's one line. So if you select one line along the top and then hit F, pay respects, it now selects the whole thing. So you can throw in a fillet, and it's a thickness of 3, so you can do a maximum of 3 millimeters, up to you. If you do 3, it'll get a little thin on the edge. It's not that big a deal, but you know.
It's good.
Perfect. So let's say okay, call it a day.
Yay. Now,
Um,
just because I like being difficult, what if I wanted to have little inserts so I could use magnets? Because everything's better with magnets.
so here's where we go back to time travel, because we did not design it with this in mind. So if you go down to your timeline, and then if you can see the sketch icon, right?
Yep.
It's the very first one.
Yep. I bring it all the way back to.
Nope, you don't have
sketch.
to.
Oh.
With sketches, it'll actually with anything, if you double click on it, it will edit that feature, and you don't have to scroll back through. So if you double click and open that up, so what size are your magnets?
Yes, I shall go and get the magnets. I'll be right back. In the meantime, Unscrupulous Modifier has a question. Are there other fillet profiles you can choose from, almost like changing milling bits?
Unfortunately, no. And that's actually a feature that I've been requesting from the developers for a little while now. It would be really nice if you could have a specific, like if you could input your own fillet. So right now, if you're talking about it like a handheld router, right now we're just using a roundover bit, whereas I would really like it if we could use a fillet to make, like those ridiculous fancy molding bits that, do all sorts of funny shapes. And that is what I want, because I would use that to make real weird things. You can, however, do a chamfer. So instead of a round, you just take a corner off. Yes, Fusion 360 is free. However, they do really want you to pay for it. You don't have to, but they do want you to. So if you are a hobbyist, or you own a small business, or you're a student, any of those things apply, and you can use Fusion 360 for free. Personally, I'm signed up as a small business, which technically falls within their terms. So sure. But again, they will try and get you to pay for it. You do have to let it know that you're not going to pay. But yes. Slater, I hope that when you say watching hurts your brain, you mean that in a good way and not in a...
He probably means me.
I get Inventor as a student, which I prefer to Fusion for the sole reason that I've used it more. Yeah, that's the thing, right? This is sort of a Fusion, like CAD for beginners sort of thing. I like Fusion best. That's what I'm most comfortable in, so that's what I'm teaching you. But if you're already proficient in a program that works fine for everything you need, sure. If we want to get really nerdy, Fusion has a lot of features apart from just computer-aided design. It also has CAM, computer-aided manufacture, which allows you to control CNC machines from it, and they're actually doing 3D printing now from it. So you can use it as a slicer if you want. I won't, but you could. They also have advanced simulation, so you can 3D model a part, tell it what material it's made of, and then run simulations on it to see what would happen if you put a weight on it or something. There's also some really cool stuff that is it's sort of over my head, but I'm trying to climb that mountain because it's really cool to me. Is topology optimization and generative design, which is getting real nerdy here. But while we're waiting for Chris to measure, I'm going to get a little.
Oh, I've already measured. I was just letting you. Okay, so I've actually measured it at 7.93, when I bought these magnets, they were described as 8mm, so I might just go with that for the diameter, assuming I need a bit of wriggle room to put them in.
Yeah, so your printer tolerance is rare that you're going to get it dead on. And in fact, personally, I don't like it when it's dead on. I like a little bit of extra because I sand, which sounds like an excuse, and that's because it's an excuse. But no, so something to consider when you're 3D modeling is that when you have to insert parts into other parts, and you, like when you have two parts that have to interface in some way, you're going to measure that physical. It's fine. You're going to have to measure that physical object. And what you're going to find is that if you have any sort of decent measuring devices, that the object is not going to be exactly what it says it is, because manufacturing tolerances are never right. So you sort of have to look at it like, what was the designer's intent here? Like, did the designer intend it to be precise down to 0.1 of a millimeter, or 0.01 of a millimeter, or 0.05 of a millimeter? And most of the time the answer is, if it's 7.94, it's 8 millimeters. So at this point, we just sort of assume that it's about 8 millimeters. And if it doesn't fit, that's what hammers are for. So, I'm dying, it's fine. So now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create a post for this to sit in.
Okay, yes, a post.
So anywhere you like, inside that box, you're going to want to put a circle into that sketch. So there's a circle tool up in the top, but you can just hit C. It's really easy. I have everything, you know, I always use the hotkeys. So anywhere you want inside that rectangle, you know, sort of preferably close-ish to a corner, as long as it's not attached to something. So right there, it's sort of latching on. Make a circle with a diameter of 8 millimeters. Although I think you have to go a little further in than that. So if you want to hit escape, that's fine. Control Z. Oh, sure. Yeah, that works. So now what you're going to want to do is set the distance in from that wall, right?
Yep.
So if you hit D, that sets you up with your distance there. So if you select one of the walls and then the center of the circle, you can see that that's 5 millimeters.
Okay.
No, you do want to click that there, right?
Oops. Yep. So cool it.
Yep. Just anywhere you want to put that measurement, doesn't really matter. Just somewhere you can access it. Now you can define that distance.
Okay.
So we would want half the distance, so half the diameter of that circle, so the radius, which is 4, plus the wall thickness of the container. So the wall thickness is 3, so that puts us at 7. So you don't want it to be 5, you want it to be 7. And now it's just moved into place for you.
The other axis, I assume.
Yep, just do the same thing on the other axis. Yeah, perfect. Now, what we probably want to do is have some way of reinforcing that section. So it's fine. I would use your regular wall thickness that you've determined beforehand. So if you do another circle by hitting C, and then select the center of that point there,
yep.
And then that would be 8 plus 2 times your wall thickness. So that's 8 plus 6, so 14. Perfect. You could also just go straight up and hit the wall, and that would do it for you, but it's probably better to type it in manually. Perfect. So now you want to finish your sketch. You know, don't worry about it, Willis. It's fine. So yeah, your finished sketch button.
Oh, yes. That one. Okay.
Yep. So now you're going to want to get rid of your lid, just so we can see better.
Lid is good.
Now, the other question, how thick is your magnet? You said it was 8 in diameter.
Let us see.
I'm wheezing.
So it says
I am actually suffering from a milk shortage.
2.72.
Sorry, you said
2.72.
Okay, so in this case, that probably means that it was actually 2.75, but we can give it a little bit of margin and just say 3, make it easier on ourselves. Okay, so here's the advantage of Fusion. Now that I'm looking at this, I think that outer diameter is too large.
Right.
So if you go back into that sketch, you can now go in and select any of those measurements and redefine them. So the first thing you're going to want to redefine is the outer diameter there, the 14 millimeters. So if you go in and click on where it says 14 millimeters, you might have to zoom in a little.
That's right. Zooming is an option. There we go. Okay. Yep.
And then I think a wall thickness of 1.5 for an internal feature is strong enough. So if we say 8 plus 1.5 times 2, that would be
so 311.
Yes. In my defense, it's almost 3 in the morning. Okay, so if we go now we're probably going to want to shift it a little closer. So where these 7s are, you're going to want 4 plus 1.5.
5.5. Okay.
Perfect. So now finish sketch. All right. So is that right? I think that's fine. Okay. So if we if you go in and select the outer ring of that circle you just created on the sketch, your sorry, the sort of donut shape, the area there.
That one there, or
not the ring itself, but the.
Oh.
I think your object is in the way, so you might want to hide the body for a sec.
hiding body.
Huh. Yeah. So if you zoom in a little bit, and then click in the middle of those, in between the two circles.
Right. Okay. So that they both highlight.
No. So right now you're just selecting one of the rings, but you want to zoom in, and it'll highlight the actual area as opposed to the circumference.
There you go.
Perfect. So now I would zoom back out.
And I might just interrupt you for a tick, just with a question from Unscrupulous Modifier. Basically, is this going to be enough to stand temperature if the battery heats up? I think if the battery is getting to the point of melting stuff, you've got bigger problems on your hands, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, as we were.
Yes, that's a fair point.
So we've got our donut highlighted.
Okay, so now if you turn your container back on, and then you want to extrude, so hit E. And then what you can do is, instead of You're going to want to probably tilt so you can see your thickness there. Your box up in the top
Oh,
corner.
that's right. Okay.
So instead of defining a height, which we could do, it would be 30. What you can do is you can click on the top surface. So now you get into subtraction. Because it's cutting through an object that already exists, it's going to default to a subtract mode, which will cut a hole that shape in your part. That's not what we want. What we want right now is an addition. So where it says operation in the extrude tab, to the right of your screen, the big box.
Maybe
Nope.
that shell.
Nope.
So I'm looking for
Yes,
operation.
there you go.
Yes. Ah,
yeah,
yeah.
there you go. So you have a bunch of options there. You've got join, cut, intersect, which only leaves the area. So it gets rid of everything except the area where your two parts meet, or new body, new component. We're not going to touch components. That's a pretty advanced thing. New body would be making a totally different part. But what we want is join here. We just want to add to this existing part.
Hey.
Perfect.
Although I suppose, do I then need to subtract over here where it sort of cuts in? Otherwise, I'm going to have a wonky hole for my
Absolutely.
magnet. Oh, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So I click OK.
Correct.
Yep.
All right. So now we want to go and you can actually, what you can do is you can rotate the part and look at it from the bottom, and that'll let you select the thing that you're going to want to select here. So if you select the inside of that circle, where the magnet is supposed to be.
Yep.
Not the ring, but the area itself.
Yep.
There you go. Perfect. And then flip us so we're looking at the top again.
Yep.
So now we're going to want to extrude. So that's E. Perfect. And then
cut.
yes, but it actually should do it automatically. So what we're going to want to do is under your start section, we are going to want to start at the top. Actually, hold on. I changed my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. No, it's fine. Actually, do start at the top. So offset plane.
Yep.
And then you can actually, you should be able to. No, it's fine. Yeah, go for 30.
Yep.
And then the magnet was you said 3 millimeters thick, right?
Yeah, we're calling it 3 millimeter. Well, actually, I suppose if we're going to have it sitting on it, we want to make sure that it's sitting fairly flush, so let's say 2.75.
Okay. That 0.25, I think we can account for because you're going to glue it in, and I think the glue will make up that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so you go offset there, and then you want to pull that arrow down 3 millimeters, and that will give you a distance of minus 3 millimeters. You could type it in, or you could use the handle there.
So 3, like that.
Perfect.
And then okay.
Yes.
Or is it? Alrighty, so we have that bit. Okay.
And then you're going to want to select that circle again and create a sort of positive stop for it to sit on.
Yeah, so if I go extrude and then...
you don't have to, actually, yeah, if you hit join. And then if you flip it over again, I got a fun trick to make things fast. You want it to go up as high as that shelf that you've created. So if you just click on that shelf, it'll snap to 27 millimeters.
Yeah. And then we press OK.
Perfect. Awesome. So now you have a post for a magnet. Then the last thing I would do is turn off that that lid there. Or sorry, turn off the main body
container. Yeah.
Yes, and turn the lid on.
Yeah.
So it's just now occurred to me that your
we're not going to be able to fit it on there, or at least have it flush. So we would then need to increase the height of the lid to compensate for that.
I have another thought there, because you want this lid to stay on and be resistant to shear forces, right? You don't want it to hit and just pop off sideways because it got hit with a little bit of impact, right?
Right. Yeah.
So what I would do if I was you was select that little donut area.
The actual donut-y bit?
Oh, sorry, the circle, the magnet in the sketch.
So the inner or the outer?
The inner.
Inner bit, yeah.
And then extrude that up 1.5 millimeters into the body. Now, we can just do it fast. So if you want to say 30 millimeters plus 1.5, 31.5 millimeters.
If I snap to, that works as well?
That would just punch it straight through.
Right, okay. Actually, so if I snap to, it automatically sort of sets it there. So if I were to subtract, we decided...
Why don't you subtract 1 from that number?
Okay. 32.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then you can hit OK. You're all good. So now our magnets will be interfering with each other. Your magnet will be sticking out too much, and that can cause a problem. So what you want to do is, excuse me, what you want to do is turn your container back on and your lid back off, because we're done with the lid now. It's finished.
Yeah.
In order to give it a sort of locking, to keep it from sliding around, what we're going to want to do is shift that top magnet down. So what we can do there is move 3. So if you double click on the third extrude back in your timeline.
Extrude
that one.
Number 3. Yeah.
No, sorry. That's 4.
Extrude number 4. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to hit escape because you already entered that.
Oops. Oh.
Or possibly Control Z.
Hey, there we go.
So
okay.
Yeah, that's your 4th. That's your 3rd. Perfect.
Yeah.
So double click on that.
And then we can move it down a bit further so that there's
so
a
if
bit
we
more
move
resistance.
that down -4, and since we snapped it to the shelf as opposed to putting in a set measurement, the rest of it should just work. So now, just to double check your measurement, up in the top, you've got a ruler, the inspect tool, up in your top menu bar.
Right. Inspect. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you click on the ruler there,
yeah,
and then select the surface in the bottom of that dish, and then the top surface there of your container.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So that didn't work. Okay. So then, if you select your second most recent extrude, you're going to have to escape out of the measurement tool.
Oh, right. That would be extrude
that one.
5.
Yes. You can also go in and rename those to make things easier for you. Okay, so for some reason it didn't like the snap 2. So let's make that 26.
26. And then okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So now, assuming your tolerances are right, the magnets in the top lid should stick into the main container by about 1 millimeter. And that should give it a little bit of,
Right.
should stop it from
Jiggling around.
bouncing around too much.
Yep.
So now, don't worry about it. So now we have a nice post in one corner. But the problem is it's only in one corner.
So we want to clone it, basically, I assume.
Yes.
I was going to say Kagebushin no Jutsu.
I don't have time to do all that 4 times. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a circular pattern. And you might be thinking, circular, that's pretty weird. It's because it is. Circular won't work. I changed my mind.
Okay.
So we are going to want to mirror this. So we want to figure out which of the commands you just did were the ones that we want to mirror. So if you go down and just single click on each of the extrudes, I'm pretty sure the last 4 extrudes are what we want to copy, but just give it a double check there. And then if we go to that fillet, I think that's going to be the lid of the box.
Yep.
It is. Okay. So what we want to do is under the Create tab, I think. I have mine pinned to the thing, so I don't remember. We are looking for mirror. Yeah. So it's further down on that list, just under pattern. Perfect. So currently we are under what we're patterning is a feature. It is it's an extrude move that we've done. So you're going to want to go back and select all 4 of those extrudes that you've done. So if you go down into your timeline and select all of those operations, and then you want to select the mirror plane. So that's the axis that it flips it over. Down? There you go. So you can pick either the ZX or the ZY. It doesn't matter which one you do first. Perfect. So now if you hit OK. There you go.
Oh,
so now you've got a second one.
And so if I
now
do
you
that,
just do
and
that.
then mirror, that will do the other side.
Yes. So you're going to want to select your 4 extrudes and then the mirror.
Ah, right. Okay. Oops. Oh, oops. So I have to have control selected to select all. Okay.
Yes, Spectre. A 4-piece rectangular pattern, a 2x2 would work, but it's a little. You'd have to punch in the exact dimensions, and then you could have issues with things not lining up quite right. And when you're moving features around, it's not that happy. And this will work. So if we go to it's mirror again under the Create tab.
Oh, that's right. Create and mirror.
And then all you have to do is select your mirror plane because you've already got all the parts done.
So now, initially I selected that one, so we want to select this.
Yep.
So that means it'll go over here.
Fingers crossed, Fusion doesn't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
There you go. So now, if you bring your lid back in.
We need to repeat the process on the other side.
No, that should have worked.
Yep.
So if you
if I
make the container invisible and look at the bottom.
Hey.
There you go. So that is your completed battery box.
Awesome.
I lied. There's one more thing that you should do.
Yeah.
You need to get power from your battery box into the blaster. So you want
Yes.
a hole. Are you using XT60 connectors?
Yes.
So,
See, I figured I'd just like grab the Dremel and just hack into the box and.
You know, you're gonna have to use a Dremel to punch through the box anyway. So, if that's what you want to do.
This, so essentially, what we want to do is put another hole in so that we can put our leads inside.
Yes. Personally, I never use the hole command because it's not as reliable. But if you want to be able to feed an XT60 through it, or I don't know how you want to do it, if you want to wire it on one side or if you want to feed the XT60 through, but I would just go back to your original sketch and just put a hole wherever you want your wires to come through. So make like a rectangle or a circle or however you want to feed your wires through in that original sketch.
Okay, so I just hidden the container for now.
So you want to edit that base sketch. Double click.
Oops. Ah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. So now wherever you want, it doesn't matter. As long as it's 3 millimeters in from the side and not interfering with any of your magnet posts. The hole anywhere you want. You can make it circular, rectangular, octagonal if you so desire.
Yeah, let's make it 14 by. Oh wait, I probably want to keep it centered. Or actually, I suppose that doesn't matter too much. Okay, well let's just.
It would drive me nuts, but it's your thing. You can do whatever you want. If you wanted, you could do a rectangle, like a center point rectangle, and then that would keep it centered. But I'm not your mom. Do what you want. So that's all you need. If that's all you want, if that's the size hole you want, and then finish sketch. Driving me nuts that it's off center, but it's fine. So you
that's what's really killing you inside, not the cough.
So you want to select that box there, and then
show.
Nope, extrude. So
extrude.
you want to grab that your container, turn the container back on, and then hit extrude. So E.
And then we want to go through.
In this case, you see there's a little handle on it, like a little arrow, right? You can just drag that straight through. It doesn't matter how high you make it. It's only going to cut what's there.
As long as it doesn't go to the lid. Oops.
If you have the lid turned off, it won't cut through the lid.
Okay. And then we've got an operation to cut. And okay. And hey, we have a hole.
Nailed it.
Hey.
Yeah.
And so if I wanted to make any speed holes in this, actually, what if I do want to make a big hole for some reason and I wanted to do it on the side? So let's say just right here.
So that depends on how scalable you want to do it. Do you want this to be a nice design or do you want it to be done now? Like, let's just... do you want it on both sides? Let's say, do you want it on both sides or just one side?
Let's go with one side first.
Okay. We would do it two different ways if you want to do. I mean, it would work either way, but it would be a nicer design if you went from the central plane.
Well, look, for the benefit of everyone watching this, why don't we try one technique and then we'll go with the second and see how that goes.
Sure. Okay. So if you just want a hole in the side, whatever shape you want, click on that face. And do you want it to be a rectangle or a circle?
Let's go rectangle.
Okay. R, I think, is rectangle. I think that works.
Okay. Actually, is there like a freehand way?
Oh my God, Chris. Yes, there is a freehand way. Okay, so with the face you want selected,
Yeah.
you want to create a new sketch on that plane. Right now, you don't have any way of interacting with stuff on that axis, not without getting a little weird. So you create a new sketch up in the top left corner of the toolbar. Nope.
Design.
One over.
Oh, create sketch.
There you go. Create sketch.
Right.
Now, what you can do is when you say freehand, do you mean you want to like make a couple lines and connect them up, or do you want to make like a blob?
Okay. So I'm guessing it's something like a spline. So I'm just looking through all these.
So you got lines and splines. A line is just straight, point to point. A spline is a line that has two starting radiuses on either radii, on either end.
So I'm just reading Spectre's comments and
yeah,
and now Alex's.
Yeah, Chris has decided to torture me at this point. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it, okay?
Right.
Okay.
Well, let's try spline. How does spline work?
So you're gonna want to. So if you click on your spline, click on the spline tool.
Yeah.
Now you create a start point. Keep in mind that those posts are going to be in there, and you don't want to punch through that. And then an end point.
And let's say here. Oh, hey.
There you go. I hate you so much, Chris.
It's like a dying Pac-Man.
So I would, if you could, you can select those green handles.
Oops,
and you're going to want to hit escape. Yeah, so if you select those green handles, you can sort of change the radius, and you don't want it really you know what? Do whatever you want.
Okay, so
you might want to move it a little farther away from the side wall, because otherwise you're going to punch in through your... Why are you like this, Chris? All right. Okay, you're just going ham, huh? You're currently you're currently trying to move a specific point.
Yeah.
So you're gonna want to hit escape or something.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say if I... Okay, there we go.
Yeah. All right. Yep. Sure. Sure. Let's go with that. All right. Okay. Are you satisfied now?
Okay, let's go with that.
All right.
I am thoroughly entertained.
So now you want to select that, and then...
Sorry, just expect this comment. I swear I just watched Alice's Soul leave her body. Anyway, so we select the surface.
Just for the record, this was supposed to be the easy way, but you have now complicated it to the point that it is the exact same as if we'd done it the hard way, and like the proper way.
So I'm guessing I then need to extrude out and cut.
Correct. So you could cut that in 1 millimeter. Oh, yep, sure.
Okay, and so if we wanted to do the two sides at the same exact location, I'd just go all the way out that way. If I wanted to go just this one, it'd be that.
Well, that's you're extruding from the outside. So right now that's adding a bulge to the outside. So there, now you've got a hole through.
Right. Okay, and so it defaults to cut if I'm going through, and then if I go out, it's new body.
Yes. So if you are intersecting another part, it will automatically switch to a cut, which you can change if that's not what you want, but it will automatically switch. Yeah. So do whatever you're just having fun.
Okay, let's do both sides. I want this to be a very well ventilated battery case.
I hate that so much, but just hit okay. Yeah, just hit okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Now it's a double butt. There you go. And you've managed to somehow create like this little tiny separate loop thing. We're not gonna fix that. So now do you want to do it the proper way? Or are you just content just
Let's try the proper way.
Absolute chaotic evil right now. Okay, so
I like to think of it as chaotic good. It depends on the interpretation.
This is Panda's new logo, says Jangular. Okay, so do you want to delete those two and then you can do something else horrible for the next try, or
I could leave it there as a testament to my spirit.
Yeah, okay, all right, that's fine. Okay, so we're gonna want to create a new sketch. So the same upper left, right? And we're gonna want to do it on well, sure.
We'll do it this side.
All right.
The untainted side.
Now you're gonna want to hide the container.
Hiding container, yep.
So now draw whatever horrible thing that you have decided to torment me with.
Okay, let's go with a circle, and we'll even make it centered this time. And let's
I'm almost
make it
disappointed,
7.
but not. Losing my voice over here. All right, a 7mm circle. Nailed it. All right, finished sketch. There you go. So now you have a sketch on the. Okay, it's being. Yeah, you have a sketch on the ZY plane now.
Yep.
So now you want to select that sketch, which is sort of floating in midair. You want to select like the meat of it as opposed to the center or the ring. And then you want to turn your container back on.
By the way, loving all these buttons. Just where you thought it couldn't get worse. We add buttons. Okay.
So if you hit extrude at this point, F in the chat for Alice having to put up with Chris.
Hey, I did say from the outset, I'll probably drive her crazy.
So, okay, so
the entertainment value of this.
You have just extruded this out. So the other thing you can do is direction. So in the extrude tab.
Okay.
Try symmetric. And if you scroll out, now you can see that it.
Let's just leave that there like that. Okay.
You're trying to kill me, Chris. All right, so that's symmetric. It pretty much does what it says on the tin. Anything it does to one side of the sketch, it does to the other in the exact same way. The other thing you can do is select two sides. So if you want, you could make a weird little asymmetrical sausage in the center of your.
Okay, I see. And this side I've put inside, but it doesn't actually try to fill. But if I do that, hey, we've got it back again.
And now you can make a weird little asymmetrical sausage hovering in the center of your battery compartment because you like tormenting me, and that seems like something that you would do. So if you want to punch that hole through, that is your right.
Okay.
Perfect.
And so we've got a hole.
You've made something beautiful and then now, if you wanted this to be anywhere near printable, what I would do if I was you was go into your sketch of the butt, your butt sketch, if you will.
Yep.
Now select your butt.
Yep. Selecting my butt.
And
Making
then
my butt even.
Extrude.
Yep.
And then we can go where it says start.
Yep.
You want to drop down to from object.
Okay.
Now you want to select the inside face of your model on the same side as the butt.
Yep.
And then extrude that out 2 millimeters.
Now, so that's under distance. We go to. Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
Yeah, so it doesn't work because you have made geometry that is literally impossible. You're a jerk.
But I need this much in my life.
God damn. So what you've done is you have an infinitely small section where the spline has rolled over itself and created a little loop. Like if you have like a loop in a wire and you pull it taut and it makes that little like cut bit. Yeah, that's what you've done. Are you proud of your creation?
Yes, I am.
All right. Well,
Okay, let's say I decided, oh, yep, I done goofed. How do I fix this, aside from just burning it all down and starting all over again?
well, firstly, I think that you've created a masterpiece and that removing those would be defacing a work of art. Because that's what this is at this point. It's a work of art, and that is all, my didgeridoo. I'm genuinely losing my voice here. Okay, so if you wanted to get rid of the butt, what you could do, and this would be very simple, you're going to want to escape out of that extrude because you broke it.
I broke its spirit.
Cybern says he wants a buttery door, which this sounds like I understand the pun when it's written, but if you said that out loud, I would think that you wanted a door covered in butter. Yeah.
Okay, let's say I wanted to keep the butt, but wanted to make it possible to print.
Get dunked on. Okay, so I'm gonna give it a shot here, but you have royally, let's say, messed this up. I haven't been keeping track of my profanity. I might have said like a billion swear words.
My butt has made a huge mess. How do I clean it up?
Yeah, you have like infinitely small geometry in your butt crack. There's a joke there, but I'm not. Okay, so if we want to go to the sketch that your butt is on,
that would be sketch 2.
I'm pretty sure it's sketch 2, yeah.
Yep.
So then we want to edit that sketch. So you want to double click that. That's renaming it.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Now zoom into your butt crack.
Yep.
And yeah, sure.
Okay.
That works. That actually should fix your problem. Your butt crack problem. Okay, so now actually if you hit finish sketch, that will actually redefine the hole that you got. So that just fixed it. Now that will be technically more printable, but if you wanted to make it actually printable, what I would do if I was you is I would select that section.
Yep.
Yep. And then extrude.
Yep.
the start is from object.
Yep.
And the object you're starting from is the inside surface.
Okay.
Derek Tran says, fill that crack. So now you want to, once you have that selected, I don't think you have it selected. Do you have it selected? No, I don't think you do.
So where am I
select
clicking
the
up?
inside surface of the inside
Yeah.
wall. Yeah. Now extrude that 2 millimeters. The number of deleted comments from Spectre Armaments is actually making me genuinely concerned. Okay, so now if you hit OK, you have kept your butt.
I have a recess.
So what I would do then to make things a little easier on yourself is if you turn off that sketch, then select the outside profile and the inside profile, those two corners.
Sorry, the outside profile here?
Of your butt.
Oh, right.
So like select the ring.
The outside?
No, you want the ring this time. So like the edge.
Oh, right. Okay, I gotcha. Yep.
And then the inner corner as well. Same thing, but moved in 1 millimeter.
Okay, and pressing shift, isn't it? At the same time?
Yes.
Yep.
And then press F. And then
we're gonna fill this butt.
Fill it to taste. Don't taste the butt. That's not good in these times.
Well, the butt's too bad if
you're filleting too much in this instance.
Oh, okay.
So you're like you're gonna want to be talking about like 0.5 of a millimeter here. Although I actually think that your butt is too tight for this operation to work. Okay, so deselect the red line here because it's not gonna like that. So now you can put a slightly larger fillet on that if you'd like. You could go up to 1 millimeter or even a little higher, although you'd start to lose fidelity in your butt.
Right. Okay, so
Spectre, you're not allowed to quote that, okay? So yeah, you can take that out to 1 millimeter is probably what I would. So if you go, yeah, you got it.
That
would be 10.
Right.
I'm also dying, but for different reasons. Okay, so 1 is too much, apparently. You have created ridiculous geometry. This is not my fault. Perfect. We're just going to call it there, okay? Okay, you've done well. Sort of.
Okay. Now, how do I save this monstrosity?
Actually, you're going to want to do that on the other side, too. So what I would do is I would mirror
just in the interest of time, let's say I'm just a sadist and decided, yep, that's good.
Sure. Yep. Fine. So now all you have to do is you're going to have to save it, and it's probably going to make you create a project to put it in. Yeah. Butt box. Buttery box. That's
so location, just leave it as admin project.
Wherever you want to. Yeah, you're gonna want to eventually create a new project. So I would create a new project, bottom left corner, and just call it whatever you want. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
Yep, that's an accurate description.
And then save.
Yep. And now that's saved. And then if you want to print this monstrosity, you're going to want to right click on container.
Where are you?
in your bodies section.
Oh, yeah, container. I'll
And
save
then
as
save
STL.
as STL. Yep. And then personally, what I would do is refinement
Yep.
and just high. Yeah,
Because it's high class.
sure. That's not even a little. There you go. 3D files container. And then you're going to want to do the same thing with your lids. Give me that STL. I will start.
Well, I'll tell you what. I will put it on the Discord.
No, we are
so-
not calling this stream the butt extrusion stream. I've now
before I
confirmed for sure that it's going to be called the butt extrusion theme. Enjoy getting demonetized, nerds.
So save as STL, hi, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then we've got the battery box.
I was just gonna let you title it Lid. It's about as ridiculous as the rest of the project.
Alrighty.
Well, Chris, I am impressed. You have managed to take this project and stretch it out over a full hour and a half. I
Yay!
did not think that was possible. So when you're not spending this entire time shit posting like morons, this operation, realistically, you could probably make this box in 20 minutes if you're new.
If you're not like me and decide, oh, let's do this, let's do that. Do we have enough time for some questions?
Do we have enough
Are there
time?
any questions? Like, am I proud of myself? Which is yes. Yes, I am.
Panda living up to his name. He didn't make a box, he made art. If you're not monetized, then I can say I've got, no, we're not gonna. There is straight up a spider right there. I am not a fan of that. This is what I get for streaming late. I blame the Australians. Keep it PG, says Anarchy's Forge. Alice, what is your project on working on? One Nerf project, one non-Nerf project. I've actually I just threw coffee everywhere. I've been working on Vorpal 2.0. So this is something I've been doing on my live streams. There we go. This is katana shaped, and then I also have a version that's talon shaped, and they're parametric, so you can adjust the length and the angle. So if you have,
you could even put a butt on it.
You could put a butt on it. Yep. Aren't you making a crossroad? Yeah. Oh, I'm not gonna regret anything. This is my YouTube channel. You'll regret it. God damn it. Yeah, okay. Yep. Anyway, thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me and with Chris and
you know what? I just realized there is one thing missing from the stream. We didn't food bomb you. That's
true. So I do live stream semi-regularly when I'm not in lockdown and moderately to mildly depressed. And we do things like 3D model, more complicated things than a butt box.
Yeah. Or basically, Alice does modeling stuff, and we try to distract her as much as we can.
Yeah. So yeah, Chris usually sends food that is very, very difficult to eat while 3D modeling, and I try
It's
to
kind
keep
of food.
3D modeling while eating food. It's a time you just gotta be there. I'm self-promoting. I was not given permission to do that. Thanks, Adrian.
Oh, and we should probably plug the next section, which is sorry, plug, but so we got community spotlight with Make Test Battle and Monkey Jaw Collective.
I'm gonna go.
So thanks very much, Alice. I have learned a lot. I know how to fill the world with butts now. I have a new mission in life.
And fill those butts you will, Chris.